Hello, dear church boys, and welcome to Saint Robert's Daygame Pickup Podcast episode number 30. This episode was recorded in Chicago, but now I'm in New York City looking outside 36th floor of an amazing place which I'm staying at, which is my student's apartment, and overlooking New York. It's been an amazing experience here. We had a New York City meetup with most of the guys in our group chat who are from New York. So thanks to everyone who came to the meetup and introduced themselves. It was great meeting you guys. I had a pretty tough day coaching next day because I have a headache after so many beers. Well, if you missed the meetup, that's because you probably aren't on my mailing list or on our Day Game Church group chat, both of which you can join on my website, strobert.blog, strobert.blog. And there we have over 150 day gamers from all over the world, so you have a pretty good chance to get your questions answered and to meet new guys. And the only news that I want to talk about is I'm going on a day game trip with Mr. T to a great day game location in Europe. The location will stay secret, but we will be there for several weeks, up to a month, and I will take up to 3 students there. So if you want to come on an amazing day game destination with me, send me an email or PM me on Telegram as soon as possible. But in this podcast, I am talking to a student of mine who I coached in Chicago who had dated a stripper for 3 years. He was very into strippers and had spent way too much money on them. Before he understood he was getting played and decided to learn some day game. In this podcast, you will hear both his stripper stories and how he is doing in his first steps as a day gamer, and those stories are crazy. Mr. What? SJ?
SJ.
SJ. Okay, you have to change it on Telegram so everyone knows who I'm talking to. So we are sitting in your apartment in rural Chicago, suburbs of Chicago. We're very, very polite people. We're people who drive polite cars and use sir and all the time, and who don't shop at Walmart. Walmart people don't live here. It's like a luxurious apartment building, something like that, where very serious guys like like yourself live. So we're here because SJ is a fucking serious guy who used to love strippers. He has crazy stripper stories, and from some of those stories it seems that some people in America believe that strippers actually like you. Uh, I thought that's really hilarious. And I thought we should fucking do a podcast on SJ's stripper stories. Before we start with strippers, what's your story in general? What's your life story? Let's not name like companies or anything like that, but what's your life story in general?
Sure. So, born and raised in Chicago. Lived here all my life. About 30, 31 now. Traveled a lot. Love, obviously, strippers. Love booze, because my middle name's Jameson. So, one of my favorite drinks. Grew up with an Irish background. So, all my grandparents, they came from Ireland to the great USA. And yeah, I love to party.
Wait, take the jacket off. You'll fuck with the mic a lot.
Sorry, that's probably better.
So came up from Ireland.
All 4 came from Ireland when they were 19. So yeah, it's my old school heritage. But I'm an American boy through and through. So
Yes.
just happy to be to break your virgin American hymen there. Because I got to introduce you to Chicago.
Yes, this was the first location in USA I came from, and when we were recording this, tomorrow I'm going off to New York to meet some of you guys listening to this. By the time this is published, we'll probably already have met. So you definitely are very American. There is a little Irish left in you. Because the thing I learned in America, which is like a whole different topic for a whole another podcast, is Americans are harder to coach because of how ingrained in the culture the niceness is. The sir and holding the doors for everyone and just being crazy, crazy polite and cold approaching is something crazy here.
Yeah, it's so foreign to us.
At the same time, you seem to easily hit up conversations at the bar with chicks, like just people sitting next to you, and that's a normal friendly thing here. And bartenders are very, very good at chatting to people. They're amazing. So this people here, from what I've seen in Chicago, they have a lot of those skills. Is kind of like the first bartender we met. What was his name? Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Nick.
Yeah.
He was teasing so good, but he was a Lithuanian dude, so that's a bit different. He had the Lithuanian like Europe thing, Eastern Europe thing.
He's got
like,
the salesmanship tactics down.
Yeah. He's like good. So, so thanks for bringing me over to Chicago. I guess you're the reason why I'm in Chicago. And well, so you're Irish, have an Irish ancestry. You're an American guy. What else?
So I guess hobby-wise, I'm into a bit of everything. So play guitar, play sax. Grew up playing saxophone, so I'm a jazz guy. That's really my go-to for music. As far as like relationships and stuff, I've been in, I was telling you, like several throughout high school, college, long-term relationships. So, you know, sooner than later, I became 30, and I was like, shit. Now what do I do? My social circles, they're all getting married, or they're moving away. So, kind of what brought me to you, and what interested me in figuring out more about this hard to describe concept of daygame. Yeah.
Just so that you guys know, like Sean sounds like a fun guy. Just so that you know, like in the corner of this room, there are a bunch of unopened Lego boxes that he has bought because someday they will raise in value, and he will sell them. So he has his rock and roll side to him, and you have your like geeky side to you as well. You're like a mix between two worlds. When I found out you go to work in a fucking suit, that was hilarious. Yeah. Anything else? What do you do for a living without going too much into specifics so that we keep it kind of...
Yeah, so I work in for a major corporation here in the States. So I do like IT infrastructure work. I also do like risk management style. So if corporations are like losing a lot of revenue due to shrinkage or theft, I kind of dig down deep and see what the true problem is and help identify it for them and provide them with strategies and solutions.
So you're a smart guy.
I like to think so, but
Okay.
yeah, tough to say.
Well, when we met, you looked like a real nice guy. That changed. We got you pimped up. Now, can you tell the audience what your mother said to you this morning?
Yeah, so I'm on my way out this morning after visiting my mom, and I'm dressed in the outfits that Robert had recommended. So she looks at me and she's like, "Is there anything you need to tell me?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Did you quit your job?" I'm like, "No, Mom, I didn't quit my job." She's like, "It's all right if you did. You can tell me." I'm like, "Why are you asking me this?" She's like, "Well, just how you're dressed. You look really good." Like, what the fuck have I been wearing my whole life? She's never said that to me, ever.
Yeah, but I will soon make a podcast. You have to be fuckable. That will be the name of it. Okay, so that's you. Let's dig into your stripper obsession, not obsession, but like your stripper stories. So what was your first encounter? By the way, yeah, what time did you pop your cherry, so to say? How old were you when you lost when you got your first leg?
I was a senior in high school, so I think I was
16ish?
18.
Oh, 18. Senior is 18, yeah.
Yeah, I was 18.
Okay,
So,
and your first strip club experience. When was that? How old were you?
So, my first one, I was 23, and I went out to Vegas
Okay.
with a bunch of guys. It was a bachelor party.
Is it that party that you gave me like a short version of?
I gave you a short version
Oh,
of it.
let's dig into the story then. Yeah, I want to hear that story.
So there's like probably 15 guys on this trip in Vegas, and we arrive at the hotel, and it's like noon on a Friday, right? So we get there, and the pool that we entered was at the Palms in Vegas. It was just absolute utter chaos. Like the guys that were with us on the trip are all swimming, like drinking, just like nobody else is around this group. So in the center, there's this big black dude who's like 300 pounds, who's like one of the group, and he's got a shirt on, and it's in white big block letters, and the shirt says, "You're gonna need a bigger vagina." So that was day one. That night we end up at, it's a famous strip club in Vegas. It's called the Sapphire. So we go there, and I think that's what planted the seed for me with strippers, because I was just like, all these girls are gorgeous. You've never seen so many women at once, just all in a row, ready, dolled up like that. So we came up with all sorts of different mischief to kind of fuck with them. So one thing we did was we'd take like $1 bill and we'd rub it like on some random dude's head so it would stick, like it'd be static. So the dancers would see it and they'd be like, all right, $1 bill, just gotta bend over and grab it. So that was one of our go-to moves. So yeah, fast forward. It wasn't then that I sort of fell into like the stripper trap or the strip club thing. That came later, but that sort of set the, I guess, condition for me of wanting to be with a stripper someday and kind of experiment.
How did the trip? What was? Is there more to the trip, or it's just you're gonna need a bigger vagina and?
That trip was just chaos, dude. So after we left this strip club, this guy, and it was the Bachelor or whatever, he was so messed up from the strip club. I don't know if you ever heard of the rapper 2 Chainz.
I've heard the name, but
famous rapper. So we go and we're playing. It was video roulette, but it was like a huge table, right? So this guy, his name is Nick. He every time like he would hit the button, he would slam it down with his fist and just scream like at the top of his lungs at this casino, 2 Chainz. He would just blast this button, and everyone was just staring at us. It was unbelievable.
is it the same story, or there's a different story about the engaged guy who fell in love?
Oh, that was a different story. So that was later on. So he fell in love at the Spearmint Rhino in Las Vegas to a stripper who I started walking past, and I think I'm a seasoned professional now because I've gone to 6, 7 strip clubs.
And you know how strippers work.
I know how they work.
You know how to get them fall in love with you.
Exactly. Or so I thought. So this girl's walking past, and she's hot. She's dark hair, great olive skin, like blue eyes. She's walking past us, and she kind of grins. So I see her walk by, and I'm just like, "Hey, lady." And she stops like in her tracks, and she's like, "Did you just say, 'Hey, lady'?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "My friend thinks you're pretty cute." So she's like, "All right." So they sit down, chat for a while. Spends pretty much the whole night with them. So they go back for a dance, and we take care of the bill or whatever. And as she's coming back, she like whispers in my ear. She's like, "Your friend's got a really big dick." I'm like, that's kind of unusual to say. But anyway, we leave the club, and as we're leaving, the guy who's engaged is just like, "Dude, I love that woman. Like, she's the one for me. Her name's Boston. Like, I'm totally going back tomorrow night." So we go back next night, and they're packed. Like, the night before it was dead. We went for this big consumer electronics show that's held in Vegas each year, and it was like I think it was Saturday that night, and they were slammed. So he sees the girl, goes right up to her, and she doesn't even give him the light of day. She's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be back, whatever." And so what he ends up doing is he picks like two of the hottest chicks that were there, and then he takes them to the back for like a champagne room dance.
Champagne room dance. How much is it?
It was probably $800-900 plus tip, plus champagne.
And no tip?
Yeah, and
the tip wasn't involved.
The tip wasn't even involved.
Okay. Seems like... So basically, am I getting it right that you actually believed that it's possible, let you know how to game a stripper?
For a very long time, yes.
So you believed it?
I thought I had an innate talent for it, because I would go in and I would just be direct, right? It's the same with daygame. It would kind of throw them off, right? Because they'd be standing there like looking all around, like who's the next sucker I could pick out. So my thing, what I would do, I would just walk right up to them and be like, "Hey, how's it going? You look like you're from Ukraine or Russia or Poland or whatever." And they'd kind of take a step back and they'd be like, well, they'd start asking me all these questions and be like, no, like, we're going to find out about you. So that kind of set the tone. Where I kind of fell from grace was going to the champagne room.
So everything was good, and then you started dropping some serious dough.
And I got more and more drunk, obviously, because that's their target there. Serve you alcohol, so you drink more, and then you lose all your mental capacity to rationalize and make good decisions. So then they'll get you back to the champagne room. And as soon as they have your credit card, whoosh, done.
Fuck. What's the most you've spent in one night in a strip club?
So I hate to say this, but yeah, I've spent upwards of $5,000 in one night.
Fuck. Do you know what's your total stripper balance?
It's under six figures, but probably not far from it.
Shit. It's actually much crazier than I expected. Okay. Wow. Fuck. And you had a stripper girlfriend for 3 years.
I did, yeah.
Was it the first stripper you fucked? Was she the first stripper you fucked, or?
So it wasn't. Yes, it was the first stripper that I fucked. It wasn't though the first stripper that I was able to like take back to a hotel room and kind of fool around with. So I met this Ukrainian chick when I was in Guadalajara, Mexico.
That's the girlfriend?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a different girl. I think she was like 22. Super cute. Didn't know like any Spanish, but she knew English. And she was working in a place where they only spoke Spanish. So yeah, we just hit it off from the start. And I was only there a couple days. So yeah, we just kind of fooled around. Like I got her top off, pants off, but that was about it. Like,
but you met her while she was working, or?
Yeah, while she was working at the club.
So you actually pulled some strippers at least to your room that were working. Okay, that's already something.
Yeah, she didn't charge me anything, so.
Yeah.
And I hadn't spent anything at that club at the time, so.
How did you do that?
It was a really laid back vibe there, and I think like it was due to the fact that she was comfortable with English over Spanish, and I kind of played into that too.
Okay. And what's the story with your ex? Because I know you didn't meet her at a club. You didn't even know she was a stripper before you banged her.
Right. So I met her close by, like Itasca, at a bar actually. So I ran into her at a bar. Thought she was gorgeous. I ended up getting her number, and then later on I realized, oh yeah, she's a dancer, like hardcore. She worked at like 6 different clubs, so she had been around the block. So I kind of had the in on strippers and dance clubs and sort of the type of girl that it molds you into, and it's not good. They're really involved in drugs, drinking too much, DUIs, so driving under the influence. So they're there for either a really important reason, either they're trying to take care of a son or a daughter, or their life's just kind of hit a dead end, and that's their last resort. So yeah, we dated for 3 years, and post that is when I started going back to the strip club pretty frequently, because I think I had in my mind that
They game the stripper, I can get another one.
Exactly, but they gamed me.
Of course. No, what? Seriously, they gamed you. Strippers have game? No way, man. I thought they just love stripping for money, and they're genuinely being nice when they talk to people.
Yeah, one of my moves that I'm pretty proud of, when I would take them back to a room or the champagne room, you take your shirt off, because then it's skin on skin contact, and that nobody does that ever. It's like, why? You're paying for it, you might as well, way better dance than with your shirt or jacket on. It's nice.
Have you ever read or explored anything on how to game strippers at clubs?
Never.
No, because I recently got contacted by someone who works with someone who wrote a book on strip clubs, and they sent me the book and they want to go on a podcast. So I'm just trying to figure out whether it's something I should do or not. That's why I'm asking.
I'd be curious.
Well, maybe I'll do it. We'll see. I have so many topics to talk about in this thing. So, okay. What are the other fucked up stripper stories that are worth telling?
Let me think.
Let's talk about when did you realize that shit, I guess they're gaming me. What's the story of a time when you realized, oh,
gotcha.
Yep. I guess, I don't have that much game.
So probably 6-7 months ago, I went into this club where my ex worked at, and I did the same thing where I walked up to her, and it was going really well. I'd spent a ton of money on her, and she'd already given me her phone number, so I should have just stopped there, left, never came back, right? But again, I drank too much, and we ended up going back to the champagne room, and checked my credit card statement the next day. It was $2,000. Fuck. So I was texting her, and she was texting back, so we were gonna hook up for dinner or something. But before dinner, she canceled, and then she's like, just meet me at the club, I'm gonna go into work. So she tried her whole routine again, which dragged me back to the champagne room. I'm like, hell no.
It's a nice thing to set up something, cancel, and instead get her to a club. I actually used it. I've used it on dates, where I set up a date outside, and it's, oh, weather is shit, let's just cook something at mine. And she has already agreed to the date, and you just change what you're doing, and she just comes along with it. And she did that. Spiel.
That's exactly what she did. So, I dropped that one after that, and then I went to the same club again, following week. By that time, I already had a VIP card, so I could just get in for free.
Because they knew you.
They knew me. They had me, fingered there for a guy who's coming in spending money, so they love me. And so the second girl brings me to the story where I then realized, what the fuck am I doing? I gotta get out of here. So I picked up this Russian Cuban chick. Her name was Ashley. And
I'm sure that's her real name.
Right. No, it was actually Lucy, which I figured out because we did go on a date. Only the date that we went on, I take her to this fancy mall because we're doing dinner over there. And I told her before, big mistake, that I was going shopping. She's like, oh, I love to shop. I'll come with you. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So yada yada. We end up at Neiman Marcus of all places, just a high end clothing apparel store. So we're browsing shoes, and like she's picking some up, like checking them out. She's like, I really like these ones, and like she flips it over, and it's like they're $2,200. So I'm like, okay, like most expensive pair of shoes I've ever owned have been like $200. So she was very good at like managing me and the store like salespeople. So she pretended to like get on the phone like with her dad or mom or something, and she hands the guy like the shoe like to buy, and he's like he turns to me and he's like, we're closing in 5 minutes, so like you have to get these now or you can't get them. So she's like, I'm like waving to her, and she's like, yeah, like I want them. So I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. So ends up buying a $800 pair of Christian Louis Vuitton.
So what's with the
shoes.
$2,200 ones?
I was like, no way, like I'm not buying those.
Yeah. Oh, she did that thing. That's a sales technique as well. You like go for one thing, go back, or you start with a small request. Person fulfills the small request, you go for the big one. It's like two different sales techniques. She knew her shit.
Hell yeah.
She had a really good game. So you bought $800 shoes.
$800 shoes.
How did that end?
So yeah, that night we go to dinner or whatever, and like the next morning, like we're still texting back and forth, but in the back of my mind, I was just like, I just bought these shoes. Like she's gonna expect more and more from me. So I didn't text her again, and she didn't text me. So just fell off the face of the earth.
What do you think happened with the shoes?
She either probably returned them to the store for like the money,
Of course.
because she was sending like a bunch of money to Russia at the time. She was telling me like to her family there. So in my mind, I was like, expensive lesson, but never buy shoes for a stripper again.
Okay. And what's with all the stuff that you had laying here? Like there was a huge bag with shoes in it.
Yeah, so I knew you were gonna run into that too. So when I broke up with my ex, she left like half of her shit here. So I have old stripper shoes. I already like probably threw out like 30 pairs of different color thongs and weird wacky shit. So yeah, I still got them here in my like living room, and I'm gonna see what they'll actually go for on eBay, because there's a lot of weird dudes on eBay who will just buy stripper shoes to, I don't know, do what with, but it's not my prerogative to
They
judge.
are wearing them.
Yeah, probably. I'll get weird messages sometimes where they're like, how long did you wear these for? Or, oh, are you still a dancer? And it's like, I'll just delete the message, or I'll give them one response and be like, if you don't buy the shoes now, like, see you later. So.
Okay. When are you going to the club next time?
Ideally, never. So yeah, we were having this conversation where, especially the one club, I've become like a walking target. As soon as I walk in, they just have me like down, or just like, and it's crazy because the last few times like I went, I just had like boom, 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 like 6, 7 girls in a row like walk up to you, and it's tough there because you can only say no so many times before they get like really irked and pissed. So, uh, yeah, I definitely I'm tearing up the VIP card. Can't go back. Gotta focus on my day game life instead of my crazy stripper.
So we have done so far almost 5 days of day game coaching. We have one more session, 2-hour session left today that we'll do right after we finish this. How has day game been so far, or rather, what's the biggest change you see so far in your life from day game? Like the
biggest change for me has been, obviously, eviscerating my approach anxiety, because I always had that, but more importantly, not even approach anxiety, it's just approaching beautiful women. I'm not afraid to go up to a girl who I once thought impossible to speak to. Yeah, I feel like it's helped me, for lack of a better word, grow some fucking balls and just not give a fuck. That's the best way I would describe it, and that for me has been a huge game changer.
Yeah, because we've had days when we were doing really good, and we've had like shit days. Like
Right.
yesterday was probably our worst day. Like you did
For
like
sure.
20 sets and like
Yeah, nothing.
like nothing. But there comes a moment when you day game. Sometimes you go into robo mode and like never fucking works. And we had days where you like were struggling in the beginning and like we changed one thing, like boom, and it's happening. And that's why I told you to take tomorrow off and then go day gaming on the weekend. And enjoy your life tomorrow. Just do nothing. Just chill out with friends. Oh, you have some plans for tomorrow evening.
I do. Yeah. So I have a date tomorrow with this lady or girl, I guess you could say. She's a little older, but she's from Italy. So English is a little touch and go, but yeah, we're going out for dinner tomorrow.
Okay. Before you talk about dinner, tell the backstory, because otherwise it sounds like a really shitty idea to do.
So backstory on her, I approached this girl. It was downtown Chicago, obviously.
First day, I think, of coaching it was.
It was our first day of coaching.
One of the first sets you did.
Yeah. So I approach her. She takes me for an instant date.
She basically suggested, "Oh, let's go for a coffee."
Yeah. She's like, "Come on, let's
1
go."
1 minute into a set.
1 minute, like instantly. So I'm like, all right. So we go to Starbucks, grab.
Not just Starbucks.
Right. So we go to the flagship Starbucks store of Chicago, which is like 5 floors. They just opened it.
The largest Starbucks in the whole world.
It's ridiculous. It's like 10 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and people are standing in line to get into the Starbucks. So anyway, we didn't have to stand in line, thank God. But yeah, we finished up our date, and I think, was it the next night, or I think it was the next night I set up like a bar date with her, and we go to 2 bars. I got pretty drunk. As we're leaving the bar, she's like, where's your place? And I was like, I can't take her all the way out to Itasca because it's like 45 minutes. So I'm like, and kind of just like babbled something. And she was like, let's like walk to my place then. And I'm like, yes.
So she fucked you.
Yeah. Well, she escorted me safely to her residence, and then
Revealed her surprisingly large tits.
she did. Yeah, I was not expecting that. She had those.
She seemed like a petite girl.
Very petite, but very like toned, and yeah, her boobs are very nice. Yeah, so I ended up spending the night at her place, and of course, we hook up for the night, and I leave my shoes because I had bought a pair of shoes and my charger there. So we're meeting Friday. Tomorrow. Yeah. Sorry, this week's been a blur. But yeah, hopefully I can bounce back to her place again. And
No, just like, no, hopefully you're meeting to fuck her.
Right.
It's like, you've already done this. There's no game. Almost no game.
Exactly.
The game is to meet her one more time before she becomes a regular, so you have a bit of abundance. And okay, how has daygame been treating you other than banging Italian chick with huge tits?
Phenomenal. So I met this Russian chick. She was Russian and Belarusian. And
Belarusian.
Yeah. So we set up a date, went well, had like a makeout towards the end, which was good. And then Friday, she invited me to a club like downtown. And St. Robert's just like, no club until there's sex. So I'm like, fuck, okay.
But I think what happened was you had the option to either meet the Russian that night or Italian.
That's right.
And you dumped the Russian and fucked the Italian.
Exactly.
Boom.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I still like have been chatting with the Russian girl via text and potentially gonna set something up for the weekend. But yeah, it's been awesome, dude. Like with dates and just going out.
You have one more date tonight
So I have a date tonight
with a really beautiful chick, really nice chick.
She's from the Apple Store. I met her.
Oh no, that's a different one then.
So the hot chick's Saturday night.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
nice. Yeah, she was really nice.
Yeah, stunning.
So you gamed yourself, where you went to buy AirPods
Yeah.
or AirPod Pros because you like to splash your cash, and you got a store discount from. Did you open her in store, or you just started chatting to her in the store? What was that?
So there was a lady at the store downtown who came up to me and she's like, "Do you need any help?" And I was like, "No, not right now," because I was still like evaluating and trying to analyze what the best deal would have been. So then I was ready and I saw like this other chick like just standing like around like, so I went up to her, approached her, and yeah, we hit it off because she saw like I had on my playlist I was listening to My Chemical Romance or whatever, good band, but it was more so like my outfit. She was like, "You're dressed like this today? Like, are you like a rocker or something? Like, are you a musician?" And I'm like, "Of course, like I play music." And
No, because your new style involves badass leather jacket,
yeah,
really badass boots, better jeans.
yep. So she loved it, and I grabbed her Instagram because I was getting a new phone at the time too. So yeah, we're going out tonight downtown.
Did she sell you the new phone? Did she give you like a stripper?
No.
Is it your new trap, Apple Store girls?
Fuck no. No, I mean, I got her discount at least on my new AirPods,
Yeah.
so it was nice. She's like, if anybody asks you, like, you know me. I'm like, of course I know you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the plan for day game? What's next?
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit, but for me, at least I want to shoot for 30 to 40 sets a week, right? So I can get down into the city Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do at least 10 sets a day, and then potentially one day during the week. I can go out here to the suburbs and just.
Yeah, because we were walking in this mall, and there are a lot of kiosks in the center of, how do you call those hallways where everyone walks? How do you call them in English?
Like where the kiosks are?
Yeah, like where the chick that recognized us was.
Oh, I don't
Whatever.
know.
So
yeah,
like
the mall,
you were
like
walking
center.
down there, and this chick asks, "Hey, where's your friend?"
Yeah.
And we were another day we were in the mall, without going into too much detail, and we were in a really good mood, and these other chicks that work there are starting to talk with us. Hey guys, what are you doing here? You're working here?
Yeah.
Because we've been there for 3 days in a row, a few hours a day. That's the thing. Like Chicago is, in my opinion, even though like it's fucking early February, middle of the winter, shit weather, but it's still good for day game. It's incredible for day game. Whoever in the chat was whining about New York being shit for day game in winter, shut the fuck up. Because Chicago is amazing for day game even in winter. You can easily get 2 sets in 2 hours. Even in the shopping mall, if you are there at the right time, you can get 10 sets in 2 hours. So it's an incredible city. When are you taking your first day game trip?
ASAP, I hope.
ASAP.
I'm considering meeting you guys in New York. If I can swing it with work, I'd definitely be there. But yeah, I'd like to do it soon.
I'll be in New York until 24th. Then I leave to Prague to coach some guys. And then I'm off on a vacation to Morocco. Next, we have something little coming up that hasn't been announced yet, but I will go to a very well-known day game destination in Europe that I haven't been to, and we'll probably go there with Mr. T. It should be a hell of a trip. If we do this, we'll be there for at least several weeks. and I'll announce it, and I'll take a few students there with me. I think maybe 2 or 3. We'll see. Well, dude, it's been fun. Now I know how much of a degenerate you have been and spending almost 6 digits on strippers, dude. That's just incredible. And well, any last words for the boys?
No, just go with Christ. Keep reading your Bibles. Yeah, say your prayers every night.
Okay, dude. Thanks for doing this.
Anytime.
So, guys, a few updates. In the next 3 days after recording this podcast, SJ had 2 more dates, one of which ended with a nice makeout with one of the girls we were talking on the podcast. The other one was pretty good as well. And of course, secondly, with the Italian girl, which probably means he has his first regular. If you want to ask SJ any questions, you can do so in the group chat. He's there. And as I said before the podcast, if you want to join me for a day game trip in a great day game city in Europe, send me an email message or PM on Telegram as soon as possible. I will be going there in April before I go to the source of hotness, Russia, in the end of